I will present some thoughts in similar area when it comes to cybersecurity, the role of eGovernance Academy, the role of different rankings, and the case of Estonia. So I'm representing here as the eGovernance Academy, and as cybersecurity, it's embedded in the e-governance, as you already know. So also our academy is having quite a new area of projects and working area, and I'm the head of this cybersecurity domain in e-governance academy. But my background is public administrations in Estonia, and I was thinking to just bring some examples how Estonia has developed and got a high level in the e-governance, but also in cybersecurity, because these link together. I will later on come back to the EGA's projects, but when we talk about Estonia, and when we look in the history, already like 25 years ago or 20 years ago, we see the goals of our e-governance, what we want to do, like paperless administrations, more efficient procedures, etc. But already then, some people thought that whatever we do in e-governance, it must be secure, that there are some guidelines already then in our strategies. Even the word cybersecurity wasn't really there at all. And if you look, there are some milestones how Estonia has moved on in last 25 years. So like starting with a governmental website, or creating a portal, or connecting the public registries. All these steps actually include a small part, but still elements of cybersecurity in today's words. And maybe just one example how Estonia has developed together with this e-government milestones is like 2005, we had first time internet voting in Estonia. And that was a new application where people can really vote on political elections over the internet. And then the first time we realized that it's a huge task, because there are so many threats already 2005 coming from the internet. So how can we manage who could really monitor what is happening in the internet? And then the first time this kind of group of specialists was coming together, that now we put a common effort, and whether we are working in the banks, or we are working in the telecoms, or we are working in the public sector, these administrators really took care of monitoring the network. And thanks to this kind of experience, next year, 2006, officially this computer emergency response team was created, or officially launched. So this kind of small steps, thanks to our development, have formed the basis of today's cybersecurity organization what Estonia has. And if we go further here, like 2008, 2009, we had realized that we are in the moment that we really recognized we are connected in all levels. We have threats, all kind of actors over the internet. So we need some kind of framework how the government should move on with all kind of these threats, that it is not anymore a problem of one institution in government, it's a problem of society. And actually, as Kim already mentioned, here are the actors mainly like somebody is malicious and attacking you, but in real life, mostly the incidents happen because people are not aware of something, or something just breaks down, and there is a lot of lack of knowledge. So how to move on in that? Estonia has put then together these documents what are in every country in Europe, at least today, like cybersecurity strategy in 2008. And being a small country here, the main principle has always been that we have to cooperate in all levels. And we have to move on interdisciplinary. We have to use the knowledge from the universities, from the government, from the private sector, and the military. And just put together the framework we need. And in 2008, the first time Estonia had a law about, it was called emergency law, but what it said was that it was defining the vital services and also regulating how the cybersecurity part of this cybersecurity part of the vital services should be maintained. That if you are like a water managing operator, it doesn't mean that you do not care about cybersecurity. Also, they have to follow certain cybersecurity standards and monitor what is happening in their networks. So here is the timeline when we look what Estonia has done when it comes to regulating the cybersecurity. We started first from the public sector because it's, let's say, easier to regulate that all the public sector institutions have to follow an IT security standard. But then we go further and further and trying to put rules to the whole society. And in 2018, so last year, finally, we got cybersecurity law. Even it's not really a new law, that all the principles were already there before, but it's really called now cybersecurity law, and it's just one easy place to find what are the main tasks, whether you are a private sector company or you are public sector, we put down the main definitions, how to protect our society, how to protect our country here. And now, maybe just a few words again about the eGovernance Academy, since Estonia has felt that we are doing quite well, also that we have good knowledge about cybersecurity. So our Ministry of Foreign Affairs started the project, as Kim already showed you, this National Cybersecurity Index. It's a project which is run by eGovernance Academy. And even if you show here the ranking picture, the ranking is not really the main thing of this project. What we tried to do is to create a tool to the other countries which are following the same steps what I was talking about, what Estonia already had. By building e-governance, you also build your ICT security or your cyber security framework in every country. That's something you do anyway. And this index project is a web page. And what is really great about it is that you can find there like hundreds of examples. What are your neighbor countries doing? What kind of documents they have adopted? What kind of strategies they have? And the index is very transparent in that sense that you can find the sources. So whenever you want to look at the strategy, we ask the countries who are providing the data also bring the evidence how this step is really made, or how this indicator is really fulfilled. So this website allows you to find all the data you really need. And there are like 12 different areas where we try to measure the country, or actually we are not measuring, the countries are measuring themselves in that sense, as Kim already said. If they make amendments, they provide the data to our index team, and we renew the data on the website, and then it's very operational. So the ranking is changing all the time. It's not like the UN or ITU index, the Global Cybersecurity Index, with what you can see once a year. What is your number, but you really do not see behind that number that my country is ranking like 10th of the country, but how did it came out, we don't know really well. So we believe that this index is really a good tool to all the countries who are thinking what might be my next steps to go forward with cybersecurity. And also in this room you will find these booklets, or it's just a short overview how we do it, so it's better to look at it later, and we very much welcome all the contributors. Please find the contacts here. If you find something is missing in your country profile, if you know that somebody would know how to make it better, how to make your country better in the rankings, so please contact us. We really hope to get a lot of information from you, because this is actually a cooperative project, not that somebody in our office is finding the data. The data will be provided by the countries, so let's be active in both sides. Well, and that was shortly what I wanted to say about Estonian cybersecurity development and about the eGovernance Academy projects here. And I will look if there are some questions to me. And well, there is one question. Do you have experience of cooperation with other countries to share your experience? I expect it's a question to eGovernance Academy, probably. If not, then, since I can answer it, yes, of course, eGovernance Academy is having cooperation with different countries. And when it comes to cybersecurity, we are involved in some projects at the moment in Turkey. We are involved in Moldova. And this general cybersecurity index also, it means that we are interacting in more than 100 countries all the time to maintain this index. And now, Kimmo, maybe can I have your attention here? There's a question. How do both Estonia and Finland handle attributions as far as APT attacks are concerned? Is public attribution part of your cyber diplomacy?
Well, that's an excellent question. About the attribution thing, that's cyber diplomacy, and I'm not a diplomat, so I'm not about to answer that. But from my point of view, the main thing is that if there is an APT or some kind of this kind of attacks, is it an APT or denial of services? The first thing is to cope with it. How do we manage? How do we get back to our services? And then there's this diplomacy level where we can start discussing about where did it come from, what kind of influences that might have. From my perspective, of course, main thing is that the services are running okay, but then there's higher level. I don't know, how about in Estonia?
Well, I could say as the most difficult task probably is to discover these APT attacks, that they are usually very hidden And it takes time, and what it really takes is this higher maturity level, that you are not just keeping the services alive, you really have the time to monitor what is happening in your networks. And I think we both are building and maintaining these abilities in our countries to find out if there really is an APT attack somewhere.
Then there's another question about, do you have experience of cooperation with other countries to share experiences?
Yeah.
We both do, but please ask. Of course, we'd like to share. We have, for example, this digital security survey. We are translating it into English, and you can start using it in your organizations. So NCSI is for, maturity of the whole nation. Then we have this survey. We can give it to you, and you can use it for your own organizations.
Well, and then there is a good question to Kimmo as well. What state body is the best suited to coordinate the implementation of cybersecurity strategy?
Well, in Finland we have an organization called Security Committee, which is close related to Ministry of Defense. It's not a part of that, but it's close related to there. Who owns actually the cyber or the e-services? So I wouldn't. I would say that it's not about the who, but more about that everything is going to be together. So the organizations are together publishing it and reviewing it, the strategy. It's not about the organizations. It's about doing things, cooperation, doing things together.
I totally agree. The same attitude is also in Estonia, that since the cyber is in every area, education, health, whatever, the main value of the strategy, making the strategy and implementing the strategy, is to bring these counterparts, stakeholders together. And maybe, yes, one ministry is responsible, but still the main value is the cooperation. It's the tool for cooperation and protecting your country. Well, but our time is over, and thank you very much for coming. And if you have further questions, let's meet in the speaker's corner. Thank you very much.